There's a video circulating across Nigerian social media right now that has absolutely everyone talking, and the man at the center of it is Daniel Bwala, Special Advisor to President Bola Tinubu on Policy Communication. On Thursday, March 6, 2026, Bwala sat down for an interview on Al Jazeera's famous head-to-head program hosted by the legendary Mehdi Hassan in Conway Hall in London. And what happened in that room has set Nigerian Twitter, X, WhatsApp groups, and television studios on fire in a way that very few political interviews in recent memory have managed to do. Here's the full story of what happened and why it has caused such a massive reaction. Bwala accepted the interview believing, based on nearly 6 months of communication with the Al Jazeera production team, that he was going to be challenged specifically on the Tinubu administration's record on security, the economy, and corruption. That was the brief. That was the agreement. But from the very first moments of the broadcast, Mehdi Hassan, widely regarded as one of the sharpest and most relentless interviewers on international television, pivoted straight to Bwala's past. He pulled out direct quotes from Bwala's own statements made when he was in the opposition, statements in which Bwala had described President Bola Tinubu as a drug baron, corrupt, and completely unfit to lead Nigeria. He played video clips, he produced documented evidence, he cited specific dates and occasions on which Bwala made those statements, and he asked Bwala directly and repeatedly, how do you now defend a man you once described in those terms? What followed was the moment that millions of Nigerians have been replaying, debating, and dissecting ever since. Bwala denied some of the statements. Hassan produced the video evidence. Bwala appeared visibly caught off guard, oscillating between denial, deflection, attempts at context, and what one prominent Nigerian columnist described as desperate verbal stalling. When pressed on Nigeria's worsening security situation and presented with statistics from Amnesty International, the National Human Rights Commission, and Human Rights Watch showing thousands of Nigerians killed by bandits and insurgents under the Tinubu administration, Bwala retreated to the argument that context matters. But he struggled visibly to provide counter data or alternative statistics to challenge the figures Hassan was citing. The internet saw everything, and the verdict from the Nigerian public was swift, loud, and overwhelmingly negative toward Bwala's performance. Now, here is where it gets even more interesting, because Bwala's response after the interview was as controversial as the interview itself. In a statement released on Saturday, March 7th, he accused Al Jazeera and Mehdi Hassan of conducting what he called opposition research-style journalism. He said the production team never told him in 6 months of communication that they intended to question him about his past statements. He said if that had been their plan, they were obligated ethically and professionally to inform him in advance so he could prepare. He dismissed several of the quotes Hassan cited as inaccurate and some as outright fake news, and he challenged the opposition and their supporters, who he said were celebrating the interview, to go on head-to-head themselves and be interrogated on their own alternative policies. If you are enjoying this full breakdown of the most talked about political interview in Nigeria this week and you want to stay on top of every major political story as it happens, please subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that notification bell and make sure you never miss a single update. But here's what Bwala also said that deserves careful attention because it is quite remarkable for a sitting government spokesperson to say publicly. He acknowledged his past criticisms of Tinubu directly. He said he was glad those were statements he made with great zeal when he was in the opposition. He said it is all politics. He then compared himself to members of Donald Trump's cabinet, many of whom once spoke against Trump and are now serving him, and pointed out that a significant number of people in Nigeria's own cabinet also spoke against Tinubu before joining his government. In other words, Bwala is saying, changing sides is normal in politics. Judge me by what I do now, not by what I said before. That argument has its defenders and its fierce critics in equal measure. Professor Farooq Kperogi, one of Nigeria's most respected media and political analysts, wrote a widely shared column on Saturday, saying what viewers saw on head-to-head was a presidential spokesman arriving unarmed to a firefight he should have anticipated, then trying to fight back with nervous laughter, evasions, amnesia, and the old Nigerian official fallback of deflection. He said the facts Hassan cited were not inventions of hostile foreigners. They came from Nigeria's own National Human Rights Commission. He said Bwala did an incalculable reputational damage to the Tinubu government he is paid to protect. Bwala himself says he looks forward to a second round with Hassan and believes that by then, questions about his past will no longer be news, allowing the conversation to shift to the administration's actual policies and achievements. Hassan himself is described by Bwala himself as arguably the best debater on the planet, which makes it even more surprising that Bwala went into that studio without being prepared for exactly the kind of hard, evidence-based interrogation that Hassan is globally known for. Here's your question for today. Do you think Bwala was genuinely ambushed by Al Jazeera, or should he have known that sitting opposite Mehdi Hassan meant every word he had ever said publicly would be on the table? And does his past criticism of Tinubu make him a credible defender of the Tinubu administration today, or does it permanently undermine his ability to speak for the president? Drop your most honest answer in the comments. Share this video so every Nigerian watching this story gets the full picture. Like it if this breakdown gave you everything you needed, and stay subscribed because this story is still developing and Bwala has promised a part 2.